Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'm discussing my thoughts on Season 2, Episode 1 of Hibike Euphonium, or Sound Euphonium, which I am just so glad is actually back. I absolutely fell in love with the first season, which I covered in episodic reviews, fell in love with the characters and their plight of really trying to hone their craft in band class to attain the gold, which by the end of the season, spoiler warning, they certainly managed to achieve, and it was such a heartwarming, affirming series for that. I loved every single episode, and I loved the characters being refamiliarized with them. Kumiko, Reina, Midori, Hazuki, Asuka, Taki-sensei, as well as being introduced to brand new characters, the likes of which include Mizori, Nozomi, and Hashimoto-sensei, respectively. And it's just awesome having this series back, and this particular first episode being almost movie length. I mean, it's like twice the length or a little bit more, give or take a few minutes, than a normal average anime episode. And it was just awesome, you know, being welcomed back into the fray and very much having it be in the aftermath of having attained what they so wished to achieve. Now it's onward and upward. It's on to the next big thing, the nationals and all that kind of stuff. And but it's not without its hurdles already at the start. You know, effectively we're falling back on the haunches once again of this mystery event the year before that saw so many of the class, the band class, the entire grade like walked out. Half the grade walked out and left it behind. And those wounds are still very fresh and very open for some of these characters. We're told effectively that it seems to revolve around a lot of students who came from Minami Middle School, which they had been pretty good in, you know, the competitions past, but they took the second place in the most recent, last competition, whatever it was. And two of the chief characters, Mizori and Nozomi, as I mentioned, here are two characters hailing from Minami, but they are seemingly on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Mizori, Yorizuka, you know, it's really interesting. She's sort of monosyllabic and really reminds me of Reina, the way she was when we first met her. She's very much focused on playing her instrument, and that's pretty much it. She's not really mindful of even like internal class drama or saying the wrong thing. She really doesn't care about impressing anyone or even gaining anyone's attention. She just wants to play the oboe. And when we're introduced to Nozomi, who is this flutist, again, both girls coming from Minami Middle School, you have some conflict going on between Asuka and Nozomi because Nozomi wants to get back involved. She's apparently one of the chief students who had walked out. And there's some bad blood between Asuka and she. She really wants Asuka's approval to welcome her back and get her back involved in the band. But there is some trepidation on Asuka's part. She flatly denies her any sort of coming back or any blessings or anything of that sort. And you gain from some of the characters that there might be some sense that Nozomi, you know, the only reason she wants to actually get back involved is maybe she wants to stir things up again, cause more trouble. And for Mizori, the oboist, here's this girl who she feels vomitous. You know, you basically have Kumiko finding her in the hallway when Nozomi is practicing the flute, and she's sick just at hearing, you know, the flute being played by this girl who, it's a level of, you know, the aspirations, the goals that some of these characters, some of these band classmates had set for themselves were completely undermined and destroyed by so many of their rival, for lack of a better term, classmates, just giving up and walking out and saying, we're done with this. We don't care about what you want. You know, that kind of thing. A sort of very selfish explosion that still resonates to this day for so many characters. And you have characters like Kumiko, Reina, Midori, Hazuki that really aren't familiar with what all that is. You know, they're still first years, so they really don't know what the details are. And there's a lot of talk behind the scenes between Asuka and Nozomi and their fellow classmates who are second and third years who are familiar with how that all went down, what all happened with that. And so it's really interesting that from right out of the gate, as I say, it's onward and upward, but at the same time, we already have hurdles that are long-standing that are going to be set in the way of our characters. And it's really highly intriguing for that. It was really interesting seeing Kumiko's sister actually kind of adversarially, playfully congratulating her for the fact that they were managing to attain the gold in this previous contest, which ended the first season, as well as that she has her sights set on the nationals. She didn't feel like Kumiko, if I remember correctly, in the first season, that Kumiko would actually continue playing the Euphonium and keep up with it. It was something she only loosely had interest in, and even to the point of, I think she started second guessing it. Why am I doing this? I don't really want to. And it evolved into a passion for her, and very much was that bond born between she and Reina. It's just really awesome seeing them together, going to the fireworks festival at the end, hand-holding and everything. There's a sweetness about the vibe between them that it's just really awesome seeing them coming together and seeing them being on this journey together, no matter what happens, no matter what fallout preceded all of this stuff, to know that the bond between them is strong and that they will be, they're both sort of on that upward spiral to try to become special as Reina most wants. This is something she shared in confidence with Kumiko in the first season. She wants to leave her mark, and she wants to attain something special that no one else can really attain, at least to her own perceptions, And it was really cool at the start seeing Team Monica, which had a brief OVA that I didn't review, but I watched and thoroughly loved. They are congratulating the entirety of the band class by performing this number. And my God, it was spectacular. They didn't miss a beat. Hazuki being very much a chief integral player in that, with the tuba, I think it was. But it's just, I love it. I love this series being back, being introduced. You have such a straight-laced conductor in Taki-sensei being introduced to Hashimoto-sensei, which is kind of like a bohemian, scraggly bearded kind of guy. He's very loosey-goosey, but everyone thinks he's going to end up being a joke. And then it turns out, as a percussionist, he's really brass tacks. He really is a professional when it comes to the attitude of playing the instruments, and people are wowed by him. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's any sort of rivalry. You already have that a little bit between he and Taki-sensei. Some playful, stuff, banter back and forth between them, because, of course, Hashimoto knew him in school, and he's telling the class, if you want to find anything out about Taki-sensei, I got the lowdown, So it's absolutely awesome. I'm just so thrilled that the series is back, and I can't wait to see what this journey has in store for our familiar characters, for the brand new ones, and whether or not it will be a growth level story where Kumiko, Reina, Midori, Hazuki are all going to be sort of on the sidelines, or perhaps even championing or disdaining getting some of these characters who walked out previously back involved. Are they going to champion the idea of Nozomi as a flutist being welcomed back into the band? Are they going to try to, implore Asuka to let her in? Is a character like Mizori, who so is brought to sickness and sadness over the idea of Nozomi having any part in any of it, because her future was rained upon with this, group of classmates basically dumping them and leaving them high and dry. Is there going to be some level of trying to allay her trepidation and allay her sadness and allay her frustrations and try to win her over to the idea that Nozomi is being genuine? Is Nozomi being genuine when she says she wants back in the band class? All questions that remain hanging overhead, and I can't wait to answer them as this season unfolds. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you've seen Hibike Euphonium Season 2, Episode 1, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you're happy that the series is back, if you're watching it at all, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. And so, yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.